Welcome to the Square Base Show. In this show, we'll be discussing the announcement of the launch of Warhammer The Old World and some incredible lore deep dives, which we'll be talking about in a bit. We have been joined by Val from his car. That's right. He is set up outside Warhammer World HQ. He is camped out. He's in the pre-order queue. I'm amazed. You flew from Canada. You're outside Nottingham. You're literally. I could come and join you in the car. You're feet away from.
Why aren't we just sitting down and talking? That's what I want to know.
I agree. A car podcast. The first podcast we did for the Square Base Show. And so you're parked outside, pitched up, ready. Are you excited for the Old World release?
Just so very excited. Obviously, with the challenges they have in the website, they had to move to a physical queue system. And only at Warhammer World, because they've adopted a self-ship process for the Old World. So here I am, getting ready to self-ship all my wonderful content and goodies. How are you, Rob?
I'm doing good, thank you very much. The Christmas and New Year break were a welcome horror show, and then we are now into the absolute grind of content production at the beginning of January. Mm-hmm. So I truly feel the relentless thumb of capitalism pushing down upon my noggin. But I'm grateful for everyone on The Honest Wargamer and also Squarebase Patreon supporting the show. So it at least feels like I'm not doing it for nothing. I'm doing it for pennies versus doing it for nothing. And that's better. I'm going to throw that out there. I'm keen. No, genuinely.
I shouldn't tell you. I probably shouldn't tell you, Rob, that we got rid of the penny in Canada. So,
God damn it!
You are doing it for nothing here.
I'm actually very, very excited. I kind of pivoted a couple of days ago. I haven't told you. I mean, I did kind of tell you this. I showed you a picture. But I printed an entire dwarf army in the past 3 days.
Yes.
An entire dwarf army. That's kind of off the back of you having an ADHD thought and then me gripping it and then running with it.
Weaponized ADHD, I believe.
And then me running with it, and then us both being like, that's a terrible idea, let's stop that. We'll explain that in a moment. But generally, I'm very excited about the Old World content, excited about just generally like embracing some of the Old World stuff. I'm really excited for like other game systems as well. I know this isn't the show to talk about it, but kind of new year, really excited to just get my head down, do a load of work, run a load of events. Squarebase GT1 sold out. Squarebase GT, so the one at the TSN Arena, the GT2, I'll include the links in the YouTube vid, is half sold out already. Number 3 has started to sell. Which is bonkers. I have a reserve list for GT1 already, or GT2, or whatever it is. I haven't even updated any of the info. The fourth event. I was
going to say you certainly haven't advertised 2 or 3.
No. The fourth event just says copy, because you could like copy an event on Eventbrite. It just says copy of event 2. That's all it says. Like, and people are like 7 tickets. So I mean, I'm excited about that. I've been researching hills.
Yeah?
Let me tell you, buddy.
Uh-huh.
When you talk to someone who plays, the 9th Age Masters is being held here at the TSN Arena in like a week or something.
Actually, that's awesome. I've never even put together how actually really awesome that is to have all those guys there.
That's going to be really cool. And like, and they're bringing a bunch of 2D terrain. But I've said to them, I've got a bunch of wicked, obviously 3D terrain we use for Age of Sigmar. And I was like, I'll try and like then create the additional bits that you need so you can actually have some nice terrain, not whatever the hell you guys do. And they were like, yeah, no problem. And then they sent me the list, and the list is insane. They're like, oh yeah, 3 rivers. I'm like, 3 rivers? How am I going to find a river in 2024?
3 rivers?
In England? A river? It's covered in poo. Because they made it so that you could just put poo into the rivers now, and the beaches in the UK. I don't know if you know that. But then hills, and then we've obviously, so Tom is off now doing a hill, but then producing the mat so that there'll be a hill when you put your battle up, take a photo, you'll see a hill. But if you try to move on the hill, you just lift that hill off, bit of flat terrain, and then you can move on or off it. And I think that's the right decision. I can't think of a better way to do hills.
I think that's awesome. I think it's funny, like a lot of times people will get pissed about abstracting terrain, going to 2D terrain. Will just be Warma hordes, they'll cry. But the thing is that in fantasy, like we already take the trees off when you go in the forest. So I don't see why it's that bad of an idea to abstract hills as well and just take the hill off when you're on the hill. And that way you still get your 3D terrain. It does feel a little superfluous, not going to lie. We might be able to just have 2D hills, but that might be a little too much.
Please, comments straight away down below. 2D versus 3D hills. What are the advantages and disadvantages?
And I know what you're saying about like how it is kind of awkward and ugly when like, movement trays are pulling the 4x4 up the side of the hill and kind of stick. Yeah, it's not looking great. Or you got to put some dice underneath the tray to sort of like keep it level and stack it up. That's always a sweet look.
I'm obsessed with a unit halfway up a hill that gets hit by a template. And then it scatters. And then someone's like, who did it hit? Only God knows.
Only God knows. Luckily, in the new edition, we'll see how templates work. Maybe they'll let us off the hook, and we'll be able to. Maybe templates will work in a much different fashion than they used to work. Probably not.
We can only hope. How have you been?
I've been good, man. I've been all over this beautiful land, celebrating tidings of joy and Christmas and yada yada. And now we're on a nice trip. I'm in a car without a microphone. Sorry, everybody, for the audio quality on this one. But yeah, no, things are good. I'm just really seethingly pissed that GW had 12 months to choose when to drop this, and in fact, they chose the 2 weeks that literally no one is around. They're all trying to be with their families, enjoying. Maybe this is the only stretch of time in the year where even Warhammer people, are trying to do something other than Warhammer. So yeah, would love to be like all in right now, but I'm in a car. There's only so much
outside Warhammer World queuing.
Outside Warhammer World, just camped out, I guess. And then also the self-shipping policy, I think, is tyrannical and oppressive, and only favors those who are privileged enough to be able to afford a plane ticket to Nottingham to physically pick up their box.
Exactly.
This is a scandal.
It is a scandal. I'm glad we're the breaking news on this scandal. I would agree. I don't want to throw any any fuel on the fire of the SDS, Games Workshop hate Specialist Design Studio conspiracy. But like they showcased the miniatures over Christmas and didn't even then be like, and the pre-order is like, they waited till the dying moment to announce the pre-order date. But we do have that now. It's in the can. It's in the can.
It's in the can.
6th of January.
The 6th of January.
Don't want to say we called it, but like we're the hotline.
Well, we definitely called the drop date, which was January 20th, using our incredible sleuthing skills. Rob even blew the lead on their special little Old World party that they're hosting by noticing he couldn't get a game table at old Warhammer World behind me because they're holding an event. They're holding a launch weekend event, which is adorable. I can't wait to see the little bowls of chips that they put out for all of the people who want to come.
Yeah.
It's going to be very nice.
And thankfully, January 6th, the launch of Old World is a date which, as of yet, isn't really marked. It's not like a big one.
Nothing bad or culturally significant has ever happened on Jan 6th. I wonder if 9/11 was taken.
V-Day, yeah, victory in Europe. I wonder if that was taken. But
let's do 420.
But either way, yeah, exactly. So it's all out the can now. So I think that's what we're going to talk about that today, and we're going to try, as you've talked about. There's also a lore article which is incredibly significant. There's some other little tidbits as well because, as Val said, he's been away, I've been away, we've been doing different stuff, and we've missed out on some incredible stuff. There's some news like I'm going to jump out with. I mean I could make this its own video. I was tempted to make it the other day because it's a bit clickbaity as fuck, and I'm not really sure I want to necessarily do square beastie stuff like that ATM. But like they did an interactive map.
Yeah.
They did an interactive map, and there's some really good gossip around the interactive map. We could talk more about that in the future. We could do an entire show on it, maybe. But the bit that really stood out for me was the Moot Land. I think I've got that absolutely correct.
The Moot. Yeah.
The Moot has been featured, which is the home of the Halflings. Home of the Halflings. And I'm pretty certain based on coffee shop rumors. I'm gonna give you I'm gonna give you this a 4 out of 5 Robs as a rumor. 4 out of 5 Robs that we're gonna be seeing in a halfling army. No, everyone's talking Kislev, everyone's talking Cathay, everyone's talking. I'm saying halflings. That's what I'm saying.
Can you imagine everyone's sitting there like, I wonder if they'll do Nippon Araby. Ooh, Dogs of War. No, mate. Halflings.
Weren't expecting this, were you, Governor? Right? I mean, it makes a
So
lot
you
of...
like dwarfs, do you?
Yeah.
Well, here's some.
I've got
we
some
made them
pies.
smaller.
Yeah. Now, there's a couple of reasons as to why. My main reason is that I know inside SDS, don't forget they also do Blood Bowl, they're a little obsessed with halflings, and we've had quite a lot of halfling sculpts from Blood Bowl already. So it's not like something they're not like very cogent of. And I think one of the things that we will see in the future is when we do see an army which isn't old armies, I think they're going to blow us out the water, and they're going to be like, we were not expecting that. We'll see, though. That's just a rumor. That's just normally there at the end, but I'm throwing it out there.
Are you? So hold on. 4 to 5 Robs for a like halfling unit, which have existed over the years.
Halfling unit.
Halfling unit. Okay. All right. Halfling unit I can get behind, no problem. I fully believe that could, because again, net new units or units that haven't existed for a long time, I feel like those are things that they'll probably be focused on creating. So it'd be really funny though if the Empire comes out and the hot new plastic kit for the Empire is just a bunch of hungry halflings, which would be just chef's kiss. I would enjoy that tremendously. Actually,
me too. So yeah,
but I think actually the developer diary on sort of the setting and the lore that they published, I guess this week, I think is really actually insightful. Would give some insight as to why things like Mootland are appearing on that map, and it's a good foundation for a deeper chat about some of the cooler sort of indicative lore items that have been hinted at through the map and other articles.
All right, yeah, I'd love to go through those with you. Should we jump into so there's been the interactive map, there's been some different almanac stuff which has been really fun as well. We know that the with pre-order, so normally the way it works, and I know you know this already, but I'm explaining it to other people at home. The way it works is normally pre-orders means that like normally embargoes lift on creators. That's how it works in AOS. That's how it works in 40k. So I assume how it works for all of them. So I'm assuming as of the 6th, we are going to see miniatures being painted by all your favorite miniature painters. We might see some rules being dissected by people who are like, I don't know what this is. What is this? I don't know what this is. There's so many rules.
I'm very curious to see who got it. I think there are going to be a lot of some very confused content creators be like, oh, Old World, what's that? Yeah, totally. I'll take one of those. And then you're right. It's what the heck is this? And that's going to be funny. And then there's also, but there are, certainly in the 40k sphere, there are some creators who are, of course, very, former fantasy players, big time squareheads, if you will. Not very square bass, these guys, because they're on different channels, and we'll screw them. And they're going to suddenly know everything, and we know nothing. So that's nice. But we will be able to then hoover up all the man read book content and distill it down for those people who are more square based in their tastes and preferences.
I think there's going to be some real problem conversations in the future. And the sticking point for me is absolutely going to be the how to win conversation, because I've been thinking through this a lot, because actually as a tabletop game, like, it absolutely will not be what I would consider to be a casual game. You cannot casually play it unless you have 7 to 8 hours to work through what each one of the rules will mean, or unless you do 7 to 8 hours of homework so that you can play a 3-hour game. And then, but the how to win is very, very interesting. How to win, is so fun, because it's like, don't engage with your opponent. And you're like, what? Compared to
assuming that it's all kill points still.
Assuming it's all kill points. Then it's actually a really fascinating meta conversation. I actually spoke to my friend Nick from the Dwellers Below. I'm sure you know that podcast.
Yeah.
So we had a chat yesterday, and we were talking about what win conditions were like back in ETC Warhammer Fantasy Battle Days and those other things. And he was giving me a bunch of different tournament formats and a bunch of different ways that people worked about like points differentials and, you know, what was considered a win, what wasn't, and those other things. I think that's fascinating. I really do. So I think it's going to, I don't know if it's really, really engaging as a conversation or it's actually very flat. And I can't really decide right now. Does that make sense?
That makes sense. I think, well, we're going to have, it's just going to be a deluge of stuff, right? And I mean, there's so many moving parts to this. I mean, we're getting 16 factions more or less day one. It's funny. They keep flipping back and forth on Warcom, whether or not the legacy or renegade factions will come out on release. But the most recent article has flipped back to at release. So maybe that means on release weekend. I don't know. But you know, we have that. We'll have mission structure. We'll have just the mechanics of the game itself. This thing is going to cause so many hot takes that really even us, because it's not like we're going to suddenly be out there, you know, grinding out games immediately. It's going to take a long time for this to be sort of downloaded into brains. 350-page rule book, so that's going to be based on previous experience. A significant portion of that will be rules. There's just gonna be a lot to get through. So I don't know. We'll see how it goes. I'm super excited. And I look forward to again really riding the coattails of those people who have access. Hopefully some will just read it in front of a camera. Or, as I've been encouraging them to, slide into my DMs, would you?
All right. Well, so many hot bits of hot news. So in a few days, the rules, or at least the early access people, will put the rules out there in the world, which is great. Hot takes galore from the 6th, which we love, and then a bunch of other stuff. But before we do that, pre-order window. Is everyone hype? Again, comments below, comments in the chat. Are people excited? Are people going to be buying into it? They've showcased what they're going to sell us. So now we're in that. And I'm showing off first off the Brettonian Box. Some great artwork, a bunch of stuff. I think these have been covered in detail. But Val, what are you thinking? You going to pick this bad boy up or no?
I am all over the place on this. Ooh. Because I think of the two boxes, I do tend to prefer the Brettonian because we are outspoken OG Tomb Kang haters here, especially for the core stuff. And the Brettonian box though does have a lot more things that I actually don't have in my collection or want more of. Like more Pegasus Knights is really nice. Obviously, I don't have a Royal Pegasus, which does not include the BSB option. Mother suckers. But the Royal Pegasus. You know, I don't need Knights of the Realm, but I could really use some Men-at-Arms. So I don't know. I'm of many minds on this. I did spreadsheet some of the costs involved.
Oh,
I think I got my head. Do we want to talk about pricing as we go through this? Because there are rumors around pricing. But also we speak different currencies, so it makes it a little bit difficult. But yeah, like I don't know. I'm all over the map. I think honestly, where I'm going to wind up is I'm going to buy books and as many Grail Pilgrims and relics as possible.
Shut up. Are you serious?
I love those guys. Yeah, I like those guys. Yeah, I have no hatred for the Grail Pilgrims. And to be quite frank, I don't know of a company who makes one that I do like. So there you go.
Okay. Like I'm not going to yuck anyone's yum. I think there needs to be a kind of like overarching banner statement now because we're getting into the crunch times and people are starting to mudsling left and right, and I feel that's really
unnecessary. It's gotta get dirty out there.
It's gotta get dirty. Yeah, it's unnecessary. I mean, there are definitely things I absolutely do not love miniature wise.
Sure.
So I'm going to try and be respectful for people's yums and not put my yuck in there. But good. I'm glad. Do you know what? I'm glad you're taking them out of circulation.
Well, hey, you know they're not quite second edition grots from 40K, but you know, no, actually, I don't know. I don't need to defend them to you. I think they're really cool, and yeah, I really think they're cool. I like their silly little Monty Python Grail Knight that they carry around, and they all have upside down shields, and they're lunatics. I think that's fun. But as to whether or not I buy this box, I don't know. I'm still undecided. So this gets to the value conversation, because it comes down a little bit to how they're pricing these boxes. And by the looks of it, it's basically like in Canadian dollars anyway. It feels like, the rule book, I think it's $80 Canadian. The Royal Pegasus is around $80 Canadian as well. So that's 160 or so. So then the balance of the of the thing is, another $200. So I don't know if I need the other stuff for $200. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I understand. I've said this. I haven't said this on the Squarebase channel so far, but I'm only going to be picking up books and cards. But I will pick up all the books and all the cards. I've seen some bonkers takes. We don't need to talk about this today. About you must buy stuff. Corporate welfare is not real. Everyone grow up.
Oh no.
Okay.
No. We're definitely not. We're definitely not in that camp at all. And also, there's enough people who are just gonna be into it. We don't have to have a poverty mentality about this, guys. Like, people are going to buy this stuff.
Yeah. Also, it's a weak ass attitude. Like, I think that's the thing that people need to embrace, is that you got a weak spine. That's what I'm going to say, right? This is going to be huge. Been calling it for ages. Was disappointed when there was new models, but it's going to be huge. It's going to be huge. It's going to be so tough. But whatever. All right, the next box. Huge. The next box.
Have old models. I find myself already, like, old models are already normalized to me. I've fully embraced my old model overlords at this point, except for the Tomb King core, which I am so horribly torn about. Which you were about to segue to. So let's. Well,
no, I want you to know that when we get to the yeoman, I'm going to yuck everyone's yum. There's no way. You can't defend them. I think Battle Pilgrims are undefendable, but whatever. Okay, so...
okay, all right.
So then we got Tomb King's box. Again, are people picking this up? Yes or no? Let us know. These are different prices in different places. There's an interesting fact is that they're different prices for the different boxes. The Brettonian one is, like, in England, 20 quid. Cheaper than it is for the Tomb King box, which is a little pricey. Yeah. So I mean,
that comes down to the difference between the dragon and the horsey, the flying horse, the Pegasus.
Yes,
I think.
Yeah.
But
either way,
I don't know why.
The base is bigger. It costs a lot of money. 20.
The base is big. Yeah, a lot more money. But yeah, like, so frame of reference, I was looking at some of the Cities of Sigmar kits, and like, there's a really cool guy in a mana core, actually a lady, I think, on a mana core.
Talia Vedra.
And Talia Vedra, thank you for sharing that with me. And she's about, again, Canadian dollars, 180. Whereas something like the Royal Pegasus, I think, is showing up as $80 Canadian, something like that. So it's like literally double. I think that's why they changed. They made the relative value different, so that one wasn't a stonking deal over the other. But you'd think they might want to give a little extra value to the Tomb Kings.
Because they got a load of old ass models. Anyway, some people are excited about this, some people aren't. There's the next box. And there are price differences. One thing to say, though, and I think this is, I don't know, just weird. They produce a bunch of dice, there's scatter dice in there. This led to a whole conversation, which I'm super glad that we weren't in the middle of, which was there's no artillery dice. And then they've started to sell dice with artillery dice. So artillery dice definitely in it, but they've decided not to include artillery dice in not the starter sets, but kind of the starter sets, which is weird. And just like
super weird.
So weird. I assume they just don't know where to buy any. I don't know.
Also, given that it's a themed, like, it's a themed army box, why not put the themed dice in the army box, guys? Just put the themed dice in the army box. But anyway, I'll be buying the dice regardless.
Yeah. Also, they do cards. Why haven't they put the cards in the box?
This is a hard question to answer, as is the reasoning behind my light going out. Great.
So yeah, there's no cards in the box, which is, I don't know why that's, because there's reference cards. I feel like they should have been auto included in the box, especially as they would have cost 8 pennies. I know you don't have them now, but 8 pennies to produce.
Yeah. Well, we could rag on all of this all we want. Let's get back into the happy territory.
The books.
The books. The books are awesome.
The books are awesome.
I don't get the hate for the books.
Wait, there's hate for the books.
Yeah, people are grumbling about there being so many books. I'm like, what do you want, guys? They're gonna make a lot of books here. Especially the I keep seeing the comment, day one DLC. It's day one DLC with the Arcane Journals. So the Arcane Journals, because they could have just been in Ravening Hordes and Forces of Fantasy. Why are these Arcane Journals being sold separately? It's obviously a cash grab. Also, where people use such hyperbolic language. I love it so much. Yes, it is.
Let's just be clear. The entire Games Workshop's methodology is a cash grab.
Yeah, it is. It certainly is. And we both have been, going over which cash grabs we're comfortable with and not comfortable with. You're not comfortable with Grail Pilgrim cash grab. I am. And we're both very comfortable, I think, with the books, especially the hinted at book quality. And also all of that silly crap, the dice, the cards, give it to me.
That is true. Someone has just in the chat and said the biggest downside to the old world community is a biggest drawback to the old world is the community. Not true. Not the square based community. Square based and angular pilled. So get ready.
Yeah.
The
absolutely.
BTB, the Big Teal Book, as it's now known.
The Big Teal Book.
The Big Teal Book. And the Forces of Fantasy and Ravening Hordes. I think, number one, I'm going to say this now. I'm going to pitch this. 2 things. I said if they're going to release something, I want them to look and feel like Tamrakhan. Now, they at least look the part. Okay? I'm not saying they're going to feel that way, but they're looking the part, which is nice. They're probably not going to have that lovely texture paper that Tamrakhan has, but it looks good.
No, we don't have that. Oh, yeah, shockingly, no special edition rule book. I was surprised by that because that was a classic thing. Every
classic cash grab
they released. That's a classic cash grab. Again, very willing to slurp that up. So I was surprised that there's no how am I supposed to find pages in my rule book without the custom ribbon that the limited editions always had. I mean, I'm going to be lost all the time. They look really nice because of new artwork on the front. I think that really the design that the design touches that they've been using are really, really nice and evocative. I love the artwork on the boxes that we've seen so far, but also the rule books just looks really wonderful. So I'm really excited. Yeah, we don't get the faux leather copy 669
soft touch
700 or whatever soft touch cover. Thank you. We don't get our bookmark ribbon. We don't get the gold out exterior. That's fine, guys. 2.0 we can get those, but the books I think look really good and they're beefy. They're all big. There's all kinds of content in these things. I think this is kind of unlike a lot of GW content where it is lowercase content. You know what I mean? It's a bunch of junk and then 5 pages of rules that you have to buy. You know what I mean? Whereas these feel loaded. They just look like they're just going to be overflowing with stuff to just pour over and wrap your brain around.
Yeah, do you guys have Sunday dinner? This is a Sunday dinner book, definitely.
It's a roast. It's a roast.
Yeah, a big roast dinner this is, which is solid. I like both of these and I think for as a collector, so just to be clear, all of these books will be digitally available ASAP. Someone's going to say, oh, they're also EPUBs. Oh my God, I forgot to say, they're also EPUBs. You can just buy
them too. You could also just get yourself a legit copy. You don't even have to pirate. We don't even have to encourage piracy. How nice is that? You can go and buy yourself a genuine EPUB and convert it into whatever the hell you want, which is wonderful. It's nice to have options.
It's great to have options. So that it will be an EPUB. EPUBs are much easier for me. I just have a tablet, all my EPUBs are on it, and then I just move them up and down. So yeah, EPUB obviously much more sensible for going and playing games. But god damn it, if I can't work all day, work all night for just a little bit of consumerism to own a couple of pretty books to put on a shelf, I think I'm going to do it. I think I'm going to do it. Like, again, I'm still like you seesawing on this subject because I know, like, you know, what became of my Big Red Book. But I think for me, this is kind of, I wish I'd had that original Big Red Book. Maybe I even do have, I'm not sure. Because that was the first rule book I bought for Warhammer. And then the Big Teal book next to each other would be kind of like a nice kind of my walk through life, especially as I do it for work. You know, like, it would be kind of a nice moment for me, I think, to collect this. Maybe even, do you know what? Yeah, I'll buy one. And then when I do any old world stuff, I'll get it signed. You know, like, whenever we meet up with each other at some point, we'll sign it. You know, stuff like that.
Like,
I think
like a yearbook.
Like a yearbook. I think that'll be a nice thing for me. Like, I think that'd be really fun. So yeah, I'll do that.
Nice idea.
I'll do something cute and weird and old. But the 2 books, let us know if you're getting them. I'd be interested in what you're doing.
Cute, weird, and old. 3 things to describe your average Old World player. Excellent.
Yeah. And then we've got the Arcane Journal, Kingdom Bretonnia, and then... so now this is the day 1 DLC. Can I just take a moment? I spoke about this already during a live stream, but just very simply, I understand if you're upset about playing 3 books day 1. Number 1 is you do not have to play 3 books. This is a additional. This is an add-on. This is not the same as the 40k Age of Sigmar where you have to buy this because it replaces the first. This is an add-on to the second, and this is not a power level add-on. This is a way to build your army in a different way add-on. Like, you know,
we'll see.
Okay.
We'll see.
Well, like, what I mean by that is like, you know, it's not the same as like you get an entire army's worth of additional rules on top like you would do in a codex. Do you know what I mean?
I think that, like, your average Bretonnian player is, or Tomb King player, or whomever, you know, any of the core factions that get this, they're going to want to buy these things. But I think, I don't know, I'm hopeful that at a minimum it's that they'll want to buy these things. Like, that they're not, you have to buy these things. I think this is what you're kind of hinting at or alluding to. I think if you're pissed that that your rules are locked behind a book, okay, that's a fair complaint. Steal them then, or just reference them from the internet, Battlescribe, wherever rules start getting stashed. That, I mean, it's tenuous that you even need to buy codexes right now or battle tomes anyway. But I think it feels like to me that there's going to be lots of cool stuff in here that, as a fan of that particular faction, you will want to have and to read. It'll be the sort of the lore updated to the like present timeline where they are. It'll be a little bit more. You'll be able to go through and see how have they tweaked or changed things. They've already alluded to in the developer diary, kind of shifting how Bretonnians work, like from a societal perspective, to make them a little less onerous to paint, which is kind of fun. So yeah, there's all kinds of nuggets and things in there that nerds are gonna be poring over and finding out how are things different than they were when we last saw them. And I don't see that as a bad thing when they're, you know, not giving us, but all of the, like, the majority of the rules you need are put out into a book that is specifically for rules. Like, it's not in a book that's like also like covered in lore and all kinds of stuff. You have books that are just army list rules, which is, I think, a much better way to do it, rather than like forcing me to buy something that is lore and pictures and maybe a couple page of rules I want.
Well, yes, I agree with you. I've got a follow-on point, and to kind of finish my point off, you don't need to buy, you know, for that, I've got to get 3 books. You don't need to get this. But if you're a Warriors of the Chaos player or a Dwarf player or an Elf player, you're going to be hype in 3 months, 6 months, a year and a half, whenever, when your Arcane Journal comes out. So as like the first crew, Tomb Kings and Bretonnians, as the first people getting your books, I get it. You're like, it's a lot. But, you know, in 2 years' time, when everyone else has had an Arcane Journal and you ain't had shit, you're going to be like, I wouldn't mind a book. Like, so... Also, what actual Bretonnia fan is complaining about getting a book? Like,
clearly you don't know what you're talking about, pal. Like there are people who probably are openly wept when they saw that there was a Brettonian arcane journal, even if this thing was like a pamphlet without. But they're also softcover, I noticed. Even if this thing was just a useless pamphlet, like Brettonian players would just pick them up off of the street and just hold them dearly at night. They haven't had a release, I think, since 2000, at least 2004. I know that's the last model, I think, is like 2004. It's been a long time. It's like 20-ish years. So yeah, let them have their book, and I think everyone as they get them is gonna enjoy them. I know I'm looking forward to picking them all up. So, and I'm not a completionist in other games. I'm not that guy. Especially again, like from the frame of reference of 40K, where I know that this book, the book that that I have to buy, will be obsolete within 3 years. Maybe 5 if you're at the back end of the next release cycle and at the start of the first one. Imperial Guard, looking at you. Like they're basically disposable. Like they're not really useful things in my book, and I don't see a lot of value in picking them up. These I feel like will last a fair amount of time as far as like actually being relevant. If we look at like development cycles around some of the other SDS games, they do tend to hang in there a little longer than others, which is nice. I might be, of course, projecting a little bit because obviously all my 8th edition stuff is 10 plus years old, or a lot of it is. That's only because the world blew up and it became the last edition de facto for a while. But nonetheless, it does feel like the stuff will be relevant for a longer period, and so I'm excited to get it. I don't feel like I am being strong-armed into it.
I would say that there's a couple of really fun bits here that people are also missing as well. Number one, it's cheap, which is great. And because they haven't, like you said, preloaded it with a bunch of lore and a bunch of like other stuff, they're like, like a lot of like the codexes, battle tomes, codex supplements, whatever the hell they're called, 40K. They're like, it's got to be around the £30 mark. So here's some just additional bump. This is just like a couple of army lists. What this means is if they're like, do you know what? We've got 2 great ideas from Bretonnia. Yeah. Here's another arcane journal in 6 months, a year, 2 months, like 2 years, whatever. They can just do this because it's just basically the rules guy. If the rules guy is just like, I've got like 2 ideas in my head, let's bang them in, write a bit of front for that, here's a great idea. So you've got some real scope, in my personal opinion, for these being like not just this is in the edition, the only Brettonian one you get. But obviously that's a bit of hope, I think, but it could be something really cool that we see. So also gives them a good format. How they sell us, or the structure of the game, is quite important because it opens up some real scope. You could just have Brettonians versus halflings, because we talked about that earlier. As a dual box.
I have the halfling Grand Army is definitely white dwarf material if I've ever heard it. But yes.
Oh my God, Randy's in the chat. It's so excited. Okay, right. So battles. So then we talk about the minis. So the BSB on Pegasus is coming out. Looks hot. Getting it? Not getting it? You getting any of this stuff?
Well, actually, you just raised a good point. The BSB on Pegasus is being released separately because, again, for some reason, that's a different kit than the one that's in the Brettonian box. The Brettonian box is the Duke and the Baron on Pegasus. So I am back to I have no idea what I'm going to do. I want one Pegasus, but I probably want a Duke riding it. Or like a Baron, or maybe, I don't know. I don't know what I'm going to do. I am so undecided, and I only have a few days to do this. Short answer, no. But now I'm thinking more about getting the starter set again.
Okay, I see. Yeah, they definitely, cash grab, hashtag, they definitely didn't put all of the value in the box, right? Didn't throw the BSB in there, didn't throw the cards in there, didn't throw the dice in there. So they definitely have split this out, quite aggressively. I think it's a great kit. I've said this previously. I think that it's a stunning miniature. Then we get down to the Pegasus Knights getting re-released, so...
Yeah, again, if I want those, I think I'd grab them from the box. Like I would get the starter if I wanted those. Yeah, which I kind of do.
Okay, then the Grail Knights. Sorry, I misread that. Sorry, I misread that. Woo! The Grail Knights are out.
That's a hard pass from me, pal. A hard pass.
Yeah, everyone in the chat,
Although
also in the YouTube comments, hit me with a smash or pass.
That's a pass, and I did notice it looks like they've updated the basing on them since the last time we saw them. And in their first, they had a Warcom almanac to the Grail Knights, which we did a show on, and it looked like they were still on their 25 by 50s. These guys look like they have finally been upgraded to the 30 by 60, which is nice.
They also, as I understand it, they're 3 models for 50 in the UK, £50.
Yeah. That, according to my calculation, is a lot of fucking money for shooting models.
Everyone on eBay still sleeping, being like, do you know what? These are still fine.
Yeah. I have no words. I have no words for the Grail Knights. I wish at least the questing knights are really like cool and characterful. It is genuinely tough to distinguish the difference between, to my like pleb eyes, it's genuinely difficult to like look at a table and be like, what is the most powerful warrior on this table? And they just look like Knights of the Realm to me. They don't look like anything else.
They don't look also, they're metal.
Different. Yeah, they're metal. I mean, but like there are good metal models that we've already discussed and we don't need to discuss anymore, which we'll get back to in a second.
I know some people are going to tell me metal is the way. Oh, no. The Battle Pilgrims is next. And the Grail.
Yes. Speaking of good metal models.
Talking about absolute brilliant things, do you think?
Yeah. That's a smash, man. I don't know why you're so mean to them. I think they're very characterful.
This is because you believe that I know you've been to England. You've been. I know that England isn't is Monty Python and the Holy Grail. Yet you think that's how you think we live. That's how you think we talk. You think that we sit around a campfire eating Swedes. Like you're like, oh yeah, some English fellas. I'll collect those guys.
Yeah. Get some coconut shells. It would be great. Actually, that's funny that you mentioned that. The questing knights, which they haven't been re-released, are all, like, because they have all their stuff on their back. But they really do actually have the vibe of the Monty Python guys, which I've never put together before. Man, self-realization on this show is always so deep for me. But no, I love these guys. I think they're cool, and they're a little bit they're lunatics. So this is a smash for me, and also very hard to come by for a long time. So this is one of those models that, like, I haven't gone chasing a lot of Brettonian stuff. I was able to get a collection of it at a reasonable secondhand price. I'll still be doing a lot of that, I'm sure, going forward. But these are guys that I just never found because, again, they're all metal. I don't know if they were ever really relevant in the older fantasy stuff, so you just don't see them very much. So that's what I'm kind of happy to have a chance to grab. Can
I just ask if that do we know the lore? I assume that the sculptor sculpted the first mini with the shield upside down, and then was like, nah, I'm not changing it. And they just
gonna roll with that.
Yeah, I'm sticking. Like,
gonna roll it. Yeah, it could be. Or now there's gonna be some people who are Brettonian fans, and they'll point out in the comments exactly why their shields are upside down, because I'm sure there's a very specific lore reason.
Yeah, done after the guy was like, I ain't changing it, man. Come on.
I gotta go get some smoke spot. I'll be back. Yeah.
Right, okay, then, oh no. The Mounted Yeoman and Yeoman Command. I'm going to hit you up with a pass.
That's a pass. That's a hard pass as well, yes.
That's a big pass. I'm going to throw that out there. These are available, but some people may like them.
Some people might like them. Some people might like them.
Yeah. But then, ladies and gentlemen, a stunner, the Handmaiden of the Lady. Do you know something? I've been looking at a bunch of Brettonian 3D prints, as you well know, and the Handmaiden of the Lady's perfect. She's a great sculpt. 11 out of 10.
She is.
11 out of 10, I'm going to call it.
She's really nice. We don't have Elise Duchard yet.
No, we don't. The Tootsie Rider.
Tootsie Rider on the Unicorn. Who seems to be spicy. I think some of her rules were tipped on the how to play, quote unquote, vid. So yeah, I don't know. She doesn't, again, not super wildly crazy for this one, but one thing I will say is that I have some Damsel and Prophetess models in my existing collection, and they're not good. I don't like those ones at all. So this might be something I look to either find a nice print of or get the official model. I like Elise. I think I'll splurge for Elise, but I'm not sure about her.
I like the Handmaid of the Lady because there's a lot of negative space to paint. So obviously, love that.
I need more positive space personally. I'm a positive space kind of guy.
Me too. Then just now, these I think are stunning. Just lead from this at the top of the article. Battle Standard Bearer on foot and mounted. Whew. Like these
you
are
like
maybe.
Those guys?
Oh, dude, I understand all of the other minis that exist, like for Mini of the Year. But these do especially the framing, the helmet and the banner and stuff. It's so hard to do a knight, just a regular dude with a flag, like that impresses after all these years of looking at miniatures. But there you go. I would say like you would put that in the dictionary. That is a miniature model for a war game, in my opinion. I think that's it.
I'm shocked at your passion for knight on horse holding flag. I'm not gonna get. Sure. All right. Cool, man. I'm not gonna yuck on that one. But it's a pass from me.
Yeah, exactly. Right. So the best images. Yeah, I agree. And then you got the Quested Knight on Great Weapon, and originally wasn't sure, but now big smash for me.
Yeah, he's cool. He's cool. And he's also going to look super badass, obviously, now that we know about the Knights of the Realm on foot, which are not in the initial wave, but they'll be coming soon.
Yes, and a box of 20 as well.
Box of 20. That was a bit of a relief, for sure. Box of 20 for those guys is again, comparing them to other ranges. I mean, that's a fair amount of models because, like a similar unit in 40K or AOS, you're probably getting 10 models for this similar price point. So,
yeah,
not bad.
That's not bad.
Cool.
Right. So then we get down to the reference card pack and the dice set. So here we got some cash grab monies.
Wow.
Because these are spenny, is what I'm going to say.
The price point on this is aggressive. To the point of like, you're gonna do it. Go ahead. I think it's like $80. How much do you think fucking in Canada? Hold on a second here. Let me just see. $80 sounds. Tomb King dice. I estimate to cost $50. I estimate $50 Canadian for Tomb King dice or any of the other dice packs, which is just. I mean, that's treating me mean. That is being mean to me.
Yeah.
What? At the same time, I'm going to grab them. Also, unlike almost everything we've mentioned so far, they've confirmed on Warhammer Community that like things like the starter box and all these kits that they're talking about releasing, they're just going into the permanent catalog. So they're things that'll be available on shelves. Whereas the dice and the cards are limited. So once they're gone, they're gone.
And they will go.
They will go.
That's
probably the only reason to really queue up to get in line as I am right now. I'm here for the dice, guys. I am currently, of course, as Rob mentioned at the start of the show, in front of Warhammer World, and I'm doing this for the dice. There's no other reason, and the cards and the card sleeves. Don't forget the card sleeves. Rob.
No, yeah, we're gonna get there. Don't worry, don't get worried. I think like these are egregious, like you say. The price on these is just absolutely just
humiliating.
It's humiliating. Like they're like, you are a sub little bitch. Yeah. Buy the card and the dice, and I
feel like if you go into a store to buy them, they'll just throw them on the ground to you, and you have to actually crawl to pick them up. Like that's how they'll deliver the dice. Or maybe they'll just take each one out of the box and just spit it in your face.
Do you know what? Like I know for a fact I can just get these done custom myself. Like
yes, 100% you can.
Cheaper, significantly cheaper. And I'm 100%. Like, and then somehow I'm like, yeah, I'll get that. And I'm like, come on, Rob, come on. Anyway, stop it.
Better than Tomb Kings, though, so I'll take it.
Okay, right. So now we're moving on to the Tomb Kangs. The Arcane Journal, same deal. I'm going to be picking up all of these things, Arcane Journals and the books. So that's on my smash list. Let's go. And again, I like that they're cheap. Like, well, cheap for Games Workshop, not cheap, obviously.
Yeah,
Look how much they've normalized me. They've Schrödingered me.
Yeah.
That's not right.
Ish.
Ish.
Well, I have a bit of a lighting issue.
Long may podcasting from Carl's reign in the old world. Right, so what can we buy? Smash or pass? Tomb Guard. I think these hold up. These look great. Let's say it.
Tomb Guard? Yeah, it's one of the newer kits. Again, I think box of 20 for these guys too. This might be a smash actually for me because I think I have 20 so far, so definitely 20 more would be good. But I'm just so on the fence about Tomb Kings in general that Tomb King Tristan is probably very upset with me. So yeah, I don't know quite what I'll do with these guys.
I said this again on a previous stream, not like just a Twitch stream, so it wasn't like anything recorded. But you know, you got two things you can sell. You got Egyptian mummies, awesome, and obviously thank you to Brendan Fraser for doing so much for us to make that so much cooler. Obviously, you know, what a real one. But you grow up in fantasy or in watching the knights. The knights are just always they're, you know, we've been so night pilled through our indoctrinated, night coded through our lives that, like, you know, they're always going to resonate bigger, in my opinion. I think that's always going to be the case. Tomb Kings is, you know, not the de facto kind of thing you think about when you think of fantasy. You don't think of Egyptian mummy warriors, but they're awesome. They're absolutely awesome, and I can see why people want to go.
Yeah. I mean, in general, I am like, so, because I think, I need rules, man, before I can really commit to like a love or a passion. I feel like I need some rule clarity. I mean, I want to know. It's hard for me to just buy models sometimes. So yeah, like, you know, Grail Pilgrims notwithstanding, but they're a special case. You know, it's just. So I think that is one of the hangups for me is wanting to grab get some rules clarity, so then I'll know what I want to get.
I'd like to be clear, I was not shitting on Tomb Kings. I'd like to be clear that I think that they have a larger place in the mental psyche of people growing up. But I apologize, especially to all my kind of like Egyptian region-based listeners. Okay, so obviously that was probably very culturally significant. I apologize. Okay. I
would say though it is reinforced though a little bit. Like we did like a little straw poll on like what starter people be picking up, and the Brettonians led the Tomb Kings by a good margin. So like I'm not saying that they're not. You know, like the Brettonians are, for whatever reason, are very evocative for people, and that people get very excited for them. Tomb Kings, I think a lot of like for the people who it's like Necron players. I've never really understood. In 40K, you have the Space Tomb Kings, the Necrons, and I've like the people who like Necrons have 1,000 Necron warriors.
Yeah,
they do not fast their addiction to Necrons, and I do not understand it. I relate more to the Tomb King fans than I could ever relate to a Necron fan. I just find that like why would you like this? And that's, you know, I can accept other people like things different than me, but Tomb Kings don't fall into that category for me. It's more just like, I don't trust them, Rob. I don't trust them. In my mind, Tomb King's bad. They've been bad in my whole fantasy life, which isn't that long. But, you know, like I'd love to see how they play. They had some weird mechanics in the old game. I want to see what they are. I want to see what they're about.
I got a question. I know we're in the middle of stuff and maybe on a deadline, but I just wanted to, so like, what do you think? Which army of the core armies that are out there?
Yeah.
Of the core armies, which army do you think is the hardest sell? What I mean by that is, which one has kind of like the
Beastmen,
the least fans? Beastmen.
Beastmen.
You went straight in, like you weren't even doubting that. Beastmen, really? How come?
Beastmen. I mean, because they're Beastmen. Like they're just. I don't know. There's a bunch of hairy, ugly dudes. Sorry to hairy, ugly dudes out there.
Literally me. How dare you?
I didn't mean. But yeah, like Beastmen. There's nothing that has ever interested. I literally, other than the fact that they live in the forest and they like eat the children of people who live in the Empire. I don't know shit about Beastmen. Maybe that's my problem. I read, for example, offhandedly that they like to get drunk, and in my head I was like, what? These guys are just like. They're just like party animal beastmen. What? I don't know. So I don't know anything about them. They stink and I hate them.
Okay, I think the toughest sell will be dwarfs.
What?
Yeah, I think
Short Kings?
I think no. Whoa. Short Kings are never a tough sell. Rise up, my Short Kings. I love you all. No, not Short Kings. I just think we all know. You speak to anyone, someone's like, "I'm going to get into the old world," and then someone will be like, "Oh, hey, I play Warhammer Fantasy Battle," and someone's like, "I like dwarfs," and you'll be like, "All you ever do is stand in a corner and shoot your cannons. Don't do anything else. It's boring." And then they go, "No, I don't want to do that." And I think that conversation will permeate quite a bit. Might be wrong. Of course, dwarfs really popular in, like, World of Warcraft, stuff like that. But anyway, that's kind of my.
I think
also hairy men that get drunk.
You also hairy men that get drunk. Well, that theme is prevalent in this game. I would say, Rob, that you're not wrong. You're absolutely not wrong on the point of dwarves like game wise are maybe a bit on the boring side. And not particularly dynamic, but that doesn't stop people from loving dwarves. And again, like just collecting so many dwarves. Like that's a thing that like they are a very popular faction. I don't see that changing. Maybe they've got something in this game that makes them a little more interesting. I don't know. Yeah, you're right. On the table, I couldn't agree with you more, but I think that doesn't stop people from at least buying them and then getting horribly disappointed when they actually go to use them.
As someone who's just 3D printed a dwarf army, I'd like everyone to be clear that like I'm in on the dwarfs, but I think maybe a tough pitch. I'm not really sure. Okay, anyway, right, get back to the article. Sepulchral Stalkers and then Necropolis Knights on the pre-order viewers list as well. Hot or not? Smash or pass?
That's smash. That's a big smash. That's an overhand smash.
Overhand smash, really? I'm gonna go for an absolutely yikes to jikes. Not in.
What?
Yeah.
What?
No.
The Cobra Surfers?
They look dumb.
For those of you on the podcast, Rob thinks that a bunch of skeletons riding golden cobra zombie things is dumb. Well, no, sir. I will counter with you're dumb.
Do you want to know why? There's not one hairy man getting drunk, and now this is all I think the game is. Yeah, I'm going to play dwarfs and beastmen, and that'll be my theme. Drunk.
Significant theme. I wonder if Skaven get drunk. Maybe they they get high.
Okay, so I think a lot of people got hype as hell about this. The return of the Necrosphinx.
This has got people hype. I mean, it's a cool model for sure.
I think it got people hype.
A little bit wider base by the looks of it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think all of the special units, so all the stuff that's not core for Tomb Kings, got an update, or at least a lot of it got an update in 8th edition when it was. I think it was the launch faction, actually, ironically enough, of 8th edition. Yeah, all of the sort of additional units, a lot of them look great, I think. Include basically everything that we've listed so far. So yeah, I think it's awesome.
Yeah, I agree.
And it makes two different things, which is nice. You got the War Sphinx and the Necrosphinx. He's really cool. You can paint it in so many different ways, give it different looks. It's a really, really cool model.
Yeah.
Hopefully he's got good rules.
I'm vibing a lot on the Necrosphinx. The War Sphinx, I'm a bit like, not sure, but there you go. Then
what are we laughing?
I laughed uncontrollably yesterday, and I can't not do it today. Cetra. Number one, this does mean I've lost my house.
Yes, you've lost your house. Joke.
Don't own a house.
Jokes on the audience. No, he doesn't have a house. He lives behind my car at Warhammer World.
I live in a Chinese family restaurant. People know that. That's fine. I don't mind admitting it on there.
That's fine. So this is what I'd say about Cetra. Cetra himself, I like a lot. I could see myself getting Cetra and just throwing his chariot in the garbage. Or at the very least, or like maybe printing new horses, just finding some way to make him a little more interesting. I'm really fascinated to know what kind of base he winds up on too, with those four hosses riding.
Horses.
But yeah, like yeah, he's not great. But I think that's mostly the skeleton horses at fault there.
Yes. I would say also something that's, I don't know if people have mentioned this, but this is our first named character.
Elise Duchard.
Oh yes, sorry, but it's yes, Elise Duchard. But that she's in Brettonian, our first named character for Tomb Kings. Makes sense. But like we haven't seen other than Elise, who it seems is probably because she's not on release. I assume is in the Arcane Journal. Cetra, similarly, I assume is kind of like we haven't seen named characters. Is what I'm trying to point out.
Yeah,
like, and that's kind of interesting.
Yes, it is. Well, we saw Kotep. Is that his name? The guy with the scroll for Cetra, which I think led you to believe that there might be a new Cetra. Either way, yeah, named characters are starting to trickle out. Yeah, it's too bad Cetra doesn't have a nice resin kit or plastic kit, but I like him. Like I said, I think Cetra himself, I wish I could just buy him and then put him on a different chariot.
Yeah, I agree. Okay, Cetra's yikes. Then the Lich Priest is also
yeah, he's not great.
He's not living his best life, so
not even his best unlife.
Yeah, that model is not the one. And then now this is kind of like torn everyone, and I think these are metal. I'm not sure, but the Ushapti, Ushapti,
yeah, yep.
Yes, and they're different, aren't they? One's metal, one's not. I think, or something like. Oh, they're both metal.
No, they should both be metal. I would think.
So no from me.
They're a little
boss.
spindly too.
Yeah, so no from me.
There are some really good third-party versions of these guys.
So good.
And I think I will pass on them. However, as far as like a classic model goes, I wouldn't be upset with anybody who has a real fondness for these guys. I think these guys are a lot of people's favorite models. So I got nothing against them. I just think there's ones I like better.
Yeah, there are ones that are definitely better in my opinion. And then the difference between the new sculpted Tomb King and the Lich Priest is like it is night and day.
It's hilarious. Yes.
But the Tomb King is also a big smash. The BSB, I think we can both agree, a big smash.
Yeah, he's a man for me.
Oh, really?
I don't know why. I just say I didn't like him very much. Yeah, it's fine.
Okay.
But kind of, I would put him in the pass category as well. Again, suspicious of undead banner bears. Like, why do I even need them? You know what I mean?
Yeah. What's happening? Why do I need one of these? I don't like this.
Yeah. What are you trying to do with me, BW?
And then the Tomb Kings, the Tomb Swarms, and then finally the reference cards and the dice again.
All over.
Stop treating me like the sub that I am. And then the hot topic, though, the hot pick is the card sleeves that have been printed, leading me to believe that we should 100% produce some square-based card sleeves.
There's a lot of stuff that Tom is just under the yoke of future production commitments that we've made for him offhandedly on this show. Yeah. And I agree. He should get designing. Card sleeves would be fantastic. I really like them. Also, what I liked about the card sleeves is it tells you the size of the cards, which are card sized. I don't know if GW has commonly made things card sized these days, but the last time I bought a deck of reference cards, like the first time I ever saw them was Warhammer 40K 8th edition. They literally folded out. They're like this big for some reason. And then there was Armageddon. I think that's what it's called. Anyway, they were like this size. Like so, and by what am I holding up? I don't like a postcard size. These feel like they're gonna be more like playing card sized, like so they're not obscenely large, which is nice. So I'm excited about that, and I think it'll be really useful to have them.
Yeah, I would say one of the things that is most offensive about the dice in this set is that they are round edged. Ugh. That's not very square. Yeah, they're round edged. They're not square shaped. That's just rude.
That is offensive. That is offensive.
It is offensive.
But they know that I'm just going to take it, so yeah, I'll take it.
So the common magic items card pack, I think I'm probably going to be fine without. To be honest,
Really?
maybe I'll get it. I don't know. I'd I'm only gonna normally have like you put them near a unit? I don't know. Like, I guess maybe. I'm not sure. Like the Laws of Magic card pack. I've already said this on the stream before, but I'm gonna buy 2, if not multiple decks of that pack. At least 2. No, well, I can always make it myself. I'm gonna get 2. I won't get any more than that. Just because
nice showing of restraint on that one, Rob.
Yeah. Well, because I'll lose a card, but I'm just wondering if they FAQ something. But I think they'll FAQ nothing, so I think we're fine.
I mean, we'll see errata someday, I'm sure, but they're not going to like ever release a new deck of cards with the errata. Like, has GW ever done a second edition that included fixes? Like, never in their lives have they ever done that. Only forward for GW. So yeah,
never look back.
Don't look back.
No stranded soldiers. And then we got some square basses that have been announced and released.
Woo! This. Oh man, I wish we were all over the internet with this one, because look at that, 30 by 30 millimeters. What a shocker!
We did.
What a shocker!
We did it. Also available on the Wargaming website if you'd like to pick some up.
Sure is. Or I think you put them up as a free STL as well if you want to print them yourself on the Patreon.
They're on the Patreon. Yeah. So you can just print them yourself, which is good.
Or pay them, or pay Rob.
Some people don't have 3D printers, right? That's the easiest.
That's true. Yes. Also true. The pricing on these bases, I think, is just gonna be funny. Also, like, another thing that I love is like reading comments from people.
Oh my god, I saw your reply to that comment yesterday. Someone wrote, and I'll let Val answer the way he answered. Someone wrote, and I quote, I don't think it's right that Games Workshop haven't produced 20mm bases in this pack so that people playing older editions can play. And then you said,
why don't you buy a dump truck full of 20 millimeters from literally any website for no money, or just get them for free from all the people about to throw them in the garbage.
Yeah, like Games Workshop bases are outrageously expensive versus just anywhere you can buy them on the internet.
Literally anywhere.
So, yeah. And then maybe one of the worst products in human history is also the famous movement tray.
Oh, jeez.
Do it yourself.
Why? And like, the only reason I'm upset about this being released is that people will buy it. It's also so expensive. It is maybe I mean, cards and dice are one thing. Do I have the movement tray? Here we go. $40 US, estimated to be 48 Canadian dollars for a pack of their movement trays, which is just absurd. It's just absurd. That to me is like the price of something that they don't want to sell or make or waste their time with. And again, they're going to make you buy them. There's so many other places you can get very high quality movement trays, including the Honest Wargamer. Don't buy that, guys. It's bad. It's lame. They always look terrible. You got to fill the gaps after you glue all the bits on.
Yep.
It's just, they're brutal.
The sides come
and
off
they're
a
also
lot.
The sides just clip off. Also, they're just the ones from Warhammer Fantasy Battles. So the people probably don't realize this. One side has is designed for 25 millimeter size bases, and the other side is designed for 20 millimeter size bases. It's still only 200 millimeters wide, so therefore it's not going to like accommodate that much width for your 30 millimeter bases. It's just it's the laziest release yet. I think it has no place here. Get out of here.
Get out of here. Get out of here. You can also buy, and I will be buying this for a couple of reasons, but mainly because my girlfriend drew it, is the map.
Oh, the map?
The map.
Give me the map. Give me the map. Obviously, map.
I'm going to buy a map.
I already have a map, and I'm going to get the map.
I'm gonna get the map. Yeah, I'm getting the map 100%.
Mhm.
The my favorite story that Louise told me, my partner who drew this, is that when she went to work for the community team, terrible mistake on her part, is the and left STS, that she had done most of the map, but she gave some of it to the very talented Holly Goodwin. So I just want to shout out Holly Goodwin for being great.
Mhm.
But she hadn't done the bottom left-hand corner. She was like, they'll fill that out when they get there.
Never did.
It's just blank. The left-hand side is just blank. Like Spain
That's
is
funny.
just blank there. There's nothing in Spain. Which is
That's what she left. She left this.
yeah, she left.
so
She was like, I'm doing that next.
That's wild. Because like, is she aware of like the incredible conspiracy theories and like gnashing of teeth that's going to cause amongst like fantasy fans? Like, why is there
Exactly.
in there? Why like so funny? It's just because she left. So funny.
So funny, so funny. I've asked her. I've asked if she will do like a little video about like, because she's told me in like, obviously, like she's told me, she was like, oh, I put like these little mountains here, or I put a little infographic here, or like she enjoyed putting the little sea monsters on the map and stuff. So there's some fun little because she did a load of the maps for the Horus Heresy as well, which is fun. So like there's some fun little Easter eggs as a designer that I'd love her to talk about if she gets the opportunity to. So there's
That'd be
some fun
super
stuff.
great content.
Yeah, super great content. I'd absorb that. So yeah, really cool. Love the map, and that's it. So there we go. So how do you feel about the
Tour de
release?
force.
Tour de force.
This is how I feel about it. It's overwhelming. Like, I don't think I realized what I was wishing for when I was like, are they going to release everything all at once? They couldn't possibly. This is half of the stuff for both factions, like maybe half of the stuff. And it's so much stuff. The scope of this game being re-released, even using old kits, is nuts. Like it's just so much stuff that they've got to like suddenly start manufacturing. A lot of this is not web only. A lot of this is available for stores to stock on their shelves. Basically, the stuff that isn't is the metal models. I don't think are basically any of the plastic kits. Like you can buy from your FLGS, and I think they can even order the metal stuff and the web only stuff. So like it's so much stuff, and it's just going to continuously keep coming. Don't know what the pace is like yet, but yeah, I was just overwhelmed by half of 2 armies being released, and it's just like, wow, that's a lot of stuff.
Yeah, it is.
I was very inarticulate, but you get what I'm saying.
No, it wasn't. No, I understood. No, I agree. It's a lot of stuff, and you're right. Like because they're not just even like, hey, here's Underworlds, like here's Warcry, here's a little setting. You know, they're like, but hey, by the way, there was actually 30 years of stuff here.
Yeah.
There's 3 of us. Okay.
Yeah.
There are 20 armies.
16.
See, whatever. Like some amount of money. Right? Whatever. Right? It's fucking loads. Like
it's lots.
It's
Yeah.
lots. It's lots.
Yeah.
Which is exciting. Which is why I'm so excited about making content for it. Because there's so much. Like my brain is full of just like all these great ideas and all these fun things to talk about. I really, really cannot wait to do. You're sat in the comfy chair at home, the 9.5-hour row that we have about whether or not putting a rune on our dwarf cannon is a good idea or not. Like, I'm excited. Yeah. Like,
answer? Yes.
Yeah.
2 runes, maybe even 3 runes. Who knows? We can get crazy, guys.
I'm excited. There's
Get
gonna
crazy.
be some really fun stuff. Then running events, looking at tournament lists. Looking at just fun lists, some silly things you can do. The freedom is pretty wild. And then I cannot wait for the conversation about casual. Oh, it's just meant to be a casual game. I'm like, no. Who? Which busy dad or mum with a 40-hour work week is like, yeah, I can't wait to read these 250 pages of rules tonight after my desk jockey job today.
I do wonder what percentage of people ever read all of the rules versus like receiving them, like learning them from a friend or something like that. Like that, I think a lot of people do learn the game in general secondhand. But yeah, like there's nothing like if there's nothing casual about Warhammer in general, there is nothing casual about spending $50 on 20 dice. There's nothing casual about that. Okay? That is you have a problem, and you're just going to take it, much like there's nothing casual about reading a 350-page rulebook and probably enjoying yourself all the way through. I am going to delight in turning all of those pages and reading it in whatever form I have it. So it's going to be awesome.
There's a great video we should talk about like like, there's so many good stuff. There's so many good conversations about like the future of what's happening, what's going on, all those other things. But I think I'm just excited for the future. I think the future's gonna be fun. I think the future's gonna be interesting. And I hope, again, a little clarion call from me. I'm also someone who is deeply invested in Age of Sigmar. I really like Age of Sigmar. I think it's great. I've started to get into other game systems and will continue to do so this year as well. Let's just take a moment to just remember that everyone enjoys different things. And so let people enjoy the things that they enjoy, not Battle Pilgrims, obviously.
just not Battle Pilgrim. You're a total GW simp if you like Battle Pilgrims.
Battle Pilgrims fine. Mounted Yeoman, no.
Okay, we can agree. Everyone can agree. It's mounted no men. No men. One thing that I think we conspicuously haven't really talked about, and I know what your response is going to be, is just pricing in general on this stuff. I know you don't like this conversation, so I'd love you to tee off on that.
I don't.
Because this is something that people are reacting strongly to. I think we, by the way, nailed it. I think I readjusted my my pricing guess, and I just went back and looked at the Horus Heresy box, and that's basically the cost. So what's your feeling on pricing?
So the reason I don't like having the conversation about pricing is because it's, that kind of conversation you have where like the two loudest people in the room are arguing about something for no real reason and they never intend to partake in the thing. I often feel like the pricing conversation is always someone, dogging on Games Workshop, which I really support, or like defending Games Workshop, which I think like you need to seek some therapy because it's a corporation.
SDS.
Yes. Apart from SDS, obviously we love them, but like my reason is because the conversation about price is completely devoid from what people's financial situations are like. And so for some people it's literally nothing, right? And for other people it's a huge personal investment, and to a certain section of our community, which is some people I've always been really conscious of, it's a problem that they have. Like, they buy too much, they overbuy, they get caught up in the hype, so like, and
we were just joking about $50 on dice. That's actually a fair point. Some people probably should not be spending $50 on dice, but
I don't know if I'm being a little bit sensitive about that group of people existing or how big that group of people are. And for some people, like my friend Will, he's really lovely. He's a guy called Sneeze, and during the lockdown, I'm sorry, this is a really long answer to your question, but
no, this is what I want.
I know your back is hurting. We had this really heartfelt conversation where he talked to me about like the difference about instant gratification and like long-term joy. And long-term joy is something that's like harder to like work towards. Sneeze is a wonderful person thinking about this stuff. And instant gratification, which I do sometimes. You get yourself a little treat. You're like, I've done a good job. I'll go get a coffee. Sure. It's such an easy fixed reward. And it's the same, like you go out and you think, I'm going to go I'll buy a box of models. You got lots of models. Building and painting an army is pretty torturous. And then putting it on the tabletop is fairly rewarding. But it's not the instant gratification high that just buying a box of models is, or buying a thing that you want is. And those two things are things that we all have to like marry together, which is why the conversation around price is something I don't overly love taking part in, because I think everyone's on a journey with it, whether or not their financial situation is what it is. And also Games Workshop is just grossly overpriced anyway. I think that's a really fair statement. They make massive profits. They underpay their staff pretty aggressively. So I don't, and also Old World is a particularly bad conversation for price, because everyone will jump in and be like, Rob, these models were made in 1992, and I'll be like, I agree. Like,
Yes,
do you know what I mean?
fact.
It's a fact. So I'm excited for the Old World, and I'm excited for people to buy the minis they want to buy, whatever those minis may be. But I like, we talked about this on air, and I'll buy the books, and the books are also crazy overpriced as well. And that's probably buy the books, buy the map, might buy the cards, but that's about it. And even then, I know I'm making some bad decisions based on my excitement. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
I should not be buying those things at all.
Yeah.
So that's my
probably yeah. That's I mean yeah, like the yeah. I mean, I think with all of this stuff, I mean, there's a conversation of like there's price, but there's also value, right?
Yes.
And like the value that we get out of these things, and I think it comes from a lot of different angles. So like spending too much money on dice, we joked a long time about that, and it's funny having like this reflection on, well, is that a fair thing to even joke about? But people buy outrageous trinkets all the time, right? Yes. And I guess it really does have to come down to the individual as to whether or not it's worth it to buy the Tomb King dice. And I will admit that often I balk. So often I will say I'm getting the limited edition thing or whatever, and I will get to the web card and I'll put it in and I'll go, actually, that's stupid. I'm not going to do it. Not in this case, though. But I guess what I'm saying here is it really does have to come down to a question of value for yourself. Where I get upset is when the community uses the buy-in of official stuff as a means to gatekeep or to say, this version of the hobby is better than that version of the hobby. Whereas there are lots of different ways for you to access this game, whether that's buying secondhand, TTS, 3D printing. There's 1,000 different ways you can get things to the tabletop and invest the time and have something really creative and beautiful that you've made and put out there. I do not believe very much in I think where people get really upset is that to get the official stuff, yeah, it's expensive, but that's why it's the official stuff. I think what you need to realize is that like you don't need the official stuff to enjoy and participate.
But it also validates. Like when you have the official stuff, you feel more valid. Like
sure, yeah.
I think that's fair.
And like and as objects of desire, it's it's easy for me to I can choose whether or not I buy one of these things. I have the choice. I can buy it or I not buy it. Some people just do not have the option to buy it, and that sucks. And I wish I had a better. And I think that's where a lot of the anger comes from, because like if I put myself in the shoes of somebody who loves this game as much as I do, but just literally cannot afford these prices, I can see why they are so upset. Absolutely. And I get that sucks. And there's a piece of me that wants to be like, well, here's what I would do, but like that isn't me. Like, so I need to like give those people some space. That being said, though, for a lot of people, they have these things. They are just excited. They maybe when these things were available for sale the first time around, they were at a different place in their life and they couldn't afford them. They can now, and they are excited to make that purchase. So I think like a lot of the toxic conversation around price also takes away from the people who have the ability and opportunity to get things that they have always wanted. And now they can go out and like chase that nostalgia dream a little bit and like make the army that they always wanted to make. So I think it's a bit unfair to those folks to kind of shame them for being excited for this. So yeah, I think price can be unfortunate. However, I think the one point that I find the most annoying are the people who complain but buy it anyway. It's fine to joke and like complain, but if you're just obnoxiously moaning about price all the time and how you're being taken advantage of, but seriously, unlike what we're doing, I think we're pretty eyes open about why we spend money on what we spend on, and we're pretty thoughtful about the decisions that we make as far as purchases are concerned, except for the dice. I think it's the people who are just complain about how expensive it is, basically the whole continent of Australia, and then go out and buy it anyway. I think that's where I think those folks need to actually think about it, and whether or not it's coming from a place of entitlement. It's because it sucks to me. This was where I don't like is like there are people who it's not an entitlement thing. It's a, man, I really want to do this, but I can't thing. And that sucks. And I have nothing. Again, all I could try and do is come up with some creative ideas for how to still engage with it if it's not something that's in your price point. But there's also the people who just who just complain about it but buy it anyway, and that to me is just like that's hypocritical. Find something else to do.
There's also the flip side. Like, you and me shouldn't buy the dice. Like, and I know you're going to buy the dice anyway, but we shouldn't. And because we're just supporting them, making, like, you know, purchasing power is important, and you know this better than I do. Purchasing power is important, and like, you know, I really want the old world to succeed, but they really have given people a really shit sandwich. You know, you've been like, I love Tomb King, like not me personally, but like someone's like, I love Tomb Kings. Tomb Kings are my thing. Like, I love them to bits. I'm really excited. Same with Brettonian. I'm excited for them to come back. But you're making me buy 30-year-old models to support it is an absolute kick in the dick. If we're being 100% like, we're going down this route, which is why I hate opening this can of worms when it comes to price, because then you get into like what is very like obvious corporate greed ensconced in art that I really love. So like, and that's the problem, because I want to engage with the art. Like, I was reading the wiki about the halflings the other day, and I was like, let's go! Like, this is great. Like, and I was excited.
Dude, I read the wiki on I read the wiki on the Age of the Three Emperors, which is where we're set, and I was like, oh, I actually had no idea about any of this stuff. I thought I did not.
Yeah. So I'm excited about that stuff, right? Like, yeah. But it is all like, especially with Warhammer specifically, but most things. And yes, we do live in a society. And yes, this could be a longer conversation about a million other things, which me and Val have talked about. And Pete, shout out to Pete on the adjacent show. We talked about these things before.
Yeah.
This is a hobby. That's why. But the things you can. Okay, so let's talk about. Let's move price to the side for a second. Talk about things we can do positively as a community. So I personally massively embrace 3D printing. I think it's, and I know you do too. The Square Base Show does. I think it's valid. I think the sculpts are almost always better. They're like infinitely cheaper. Even if you end up buying a 3D printer first, there's so many positives to that. Buying them on Etsy, buying them as a club. Like, you know, you got a local club, there's 10, 15 of you, buy a 3D printer amongst yourselves, start running it, have someone be the boss, you know, give up a little bit. If you haven't got money, you do have time. In some cases, give up a little bit of time, put that in there. You know, you can produce these things like a character pack. I printed every dwarf character I need on one printer tray. Yeah. Okay. I'm talking nothing considering they're like 20, 30 quid from Games Workshop per one. Pennies in comparison. I don't think they were pennies, but pennies in comparison. So, yes, you know, I think that's the reason I don't like getting into it, because there's just no solution other than positive steps. Embrace 3D printing, embrace alternate sculpts, embrace old sculpts, round bases. I've had loads of people ask me that question. There are movement trays you can buy where you put your round bases inside of a square base. Yeah, go for it.
I will say too that most of the cost is upfront for brand new shit. Okay. Yeah. I have always been a massive proponent of secondhand stuff. 6 months from now, you will be. I have no doubt that like 1 month from now, it's going to be probably pretty expensive for you to buy a lot of Tomb King stuff still, even on eBay, even from GW, whatever. It's going to cost at least retail. 6 months from now, there are going to be a lot of people who made emotional decisions, put down their credit card, bought everything, and then realized, oh, I don't want to scrape mold lines off of 1,000 Tomb King skeletons. No, thank you. And they will sell it for 40 or 50%, which is still not free, but way cheaper. And now you get the official thing at a much less usurious cost. That person gets some of their money back, which is nice. I am a massive fan of secondhand stuff. But what it does mean is that you have to have patience. You have to see this for what it is, which is a lot of people very excited. We're part of the hype cycle. We're out there getting people all frothy for this too, like literally driving this. So like, if you're like, whoa, that's too much, pump the brakes, because not even 6 months, a couple of months down the road, people are going to be selling these things secondhand for a fraction of what they paid for it.
100%.
And that's a very reasonable way to go about getting it. You can find them on Facebook, Discord chats, I'm sure. Where, depending on where you are, eBay, Craigslist, Kijiji in Canada, all these places. I have the majority of my collection vast majority of my collection comes secondhand, because also often it comes with a paint job for and that's a big deal for me because I'm not a big painting guy. So anyway, there are ways to engage. I think ultimately the only people who I have any heart for are, again, folks who are as excited about this as I am, but literally just can't afford it. I think some of the options that Rob came up with there are really valid and good ways to engage with it. And then, as for people who are just complaining because it's expensive, yeah, it's expensive. So you got to decide whether or not that's, again, worth it to you. If it has value to you, then the price is the price, and that's what we roll with. Yeah. There are alternatives to just paying them what they tell you to.
Yes,
which I think a lot of people do not give enough credit to.
And I'd like to be clear, and I think I don't want to speak for you, so I'll just say it for myself. Creators inside the space who are not advocating for there being alternatives are being disrespectful to the community and also to you as a listener. You sit opposite a table from me and you're like, hey, I'm excited to be here. I'm looking forward to playing this game. Just so you know, you would not even have to advocate. You wouldn't have to be like, hey, I have some alternate models from, let's say, Mantic, because obviously those other ones are a little bit too expensive to me. I do this other job. I look after my sick mum. Whatever the fucking reason, you would never even
say any of that.
You would have to say none of that. You don't have to justify yourself. Like, if you have £1 million and you were like, I'm not spending this fucking money and I'm going to buy this,
right.
or then you don't have to justify that to me. As long as it kind of looks like a fantasy army and you've put some effort and love into it, it's all that I give a fuck about.
Yeah.
And so anyone else advocating for something different, and I apologize because I don't want to include you in this because I feel passionate now, I think is a dickhead, not Val. Val doesn't think is a dickhead.
I fully agree. No, I fully agree. If someone has brought to a table an army that is been effort has been put into it, and whatever it means that is, we're not talking about toothpicks and whatever, because again, I think fundamentally too, this is something that people need, that I think is important, is this is a game of aesthetics. We could play this game with tokens. We could play this game with without any models at all. You can play it on TTS. When you're playing it at the tabletop, you do have to realize that there is an element of aesthetics to this. It should fit it should fit. It should hang together as a Warhammer The Old World army. That being said, there are lots of ways to get to something that hangs together as a Warhammer The Old World army. That doesn't have to be a bunch of hunched over 20-plus-year-old sculpts that the Tomb Kings are, if those aren't what you like, or if you think they're too expensive, or you can't afford them. There are other ways to get there. And I think it's the people who say, no, only the official thing is what counts as an Old World army. Only the stuff that, you bought at retail and painted yourself, which I've literally seen these types of sentiments out there. It's disrespectful to players who've spent all of the money to use a third-party model. Kiss my ass. If you bought that army, it's valuable to you. And if I bring an army to the table that just looks appropriate to the theme and the setting, and as I have put effort in, or it's maybe something that I have imagined and created myself, that still, again, hangs together and is appropriate, then you should not look down your nose at me, sir or ma'am. Kiss my ass. We should engage with this, I think, freely, with enthusiasm. And a lot of the times, by the way, for all the corporate welfare folk out there, GW is going to earn our money. They're going to earn what we give them through the stuff that they give us that has value. If you don't have value for Grail Pilgrims, you're not going to buy them. If enough people are like Rob and not like me, maybe they'll realize, hey, we should maybe have some better kits out there. But I think they're going to do just fine, guys. I think they're going to sell a lot of books. I think they're going to sell a lot of new and old models. I think this game is going to do just fine. Do you still think it's going to sell out? Do you think the pre-order stuff is going to sell out? Okay.
I mean, the new.
I wonder about the starters now. I'm nervous about the starters. I don't know.
The new kits are a bit the new kits and stuff, 100%. The old kits and stuff. I mean, it's spenny, but I think there's enough whales out there that are just going to pick it up. So I think that's going to be the conclusion. Well, I would also like to say that there is a secret third option, obviously, to all of these things we just talked about, is Warhammer Fest will be in the summer, and if security is anything like it was last Warhammer Fest, then there's a great opportunity to pick up some wildly cheap, some may even say close to free Warhammer miniatures. No, anyway.
Just don't wear the Squarebase t-shirt when you do it.
But that's, of course, as always, my lawyer in chat, Pershaw, is making me say that this is obviously sarcasm.
For entertainment purposes only. Whatever you do, don't. Anyway, moving on. I don't think if the only way to play this game for you is to commit theft or robbery, probably explore other hobbies.
Have to. Excited about the prospect of different things. Yeah. Everyone's always like,
that's how you get your thrill, sure.
Everyone's always like, theft is bad. I'm like, you all love Indiana Jones. That motherfucker just stealing anything he can find.
That's true. I mean, and you're from Nottingham, so like you do have like
that's the other problem as well.
Genuinely programmed. For
people are always like, I am from Nottingham, so if there's one group of people on the earth who can say that stealing from the rich is like literally in our cultural DNA,
yes, absolutely,
it's me and the Merry Men. So
there you go.
So watch out. Anyway,
so if you do a smash and grab at Warhammer Fest,
never at local gaming store.
Never a local game store. Also, you have to be wearing tights of some kind. And John
wearing them right now.
Yeah, absolutely. Don't doubt it for a second. Anyway, I do know that you often, because I do think square bass. I think price is something that is a big topic on the community about this, and I think it comes down to a personal call of value. And I appreciate you having the conversation because I think people would have called us cowards if we didn't. And also, I think it's an important one to have, and that's. I think we kind of got some ideas about how I feel about it out there. And that's
that's why I don't have the convo. I prefer concentrating on the art, which is like rules, minis, lore, that sort of stuff. Like, maybe it's just because I've been covering Warhammer for so long that and also nothing was solved in our conversation. Like, that's the problem. Like these conversations will happen for the rest of the time. But maybe we've orientated how we feel about it, which is nice. Do you think it's going to sell out?
I'm suddenly nervous about it, but on the other side of it, I just can't believe they've made enough stuff. So I think, yes, I think it sells out because they probably produced it to sell it out. I'm curious to see I wonder if that Tomb King box sells out, to be honest with you, because it's a higher price point, the less liked faction, the worse models. I am curious to see what happens with it.
Yeah, okay, and me too.
I think Brettonian's slam dunk. I think, like all the new kits that they release, they're going to be hard to come by. I think the books, can they sell out books? I think if they can, they will. They certainly dice, sleeves, cards, those will all gone. I'm even going to get I have asked my friend who's into the limited edition Black Library stuff. I'm going to do the Black Library limited edition Brettonian book to go on my shelf. So from get-go, I will be a completionist on printed materials, which is just weird, but that is something I am going to try to do.
Yeah, like that's what the copium. People are like, I can't believe you're not saying buy the models. I'm like, we buy books we know are going out of date. Stop it. Like, we've recycled a lot of books. Okay, we're already making bad purchasing decisions live on air. We're telling you, we're admitting. Well, I don't want other people to hear this.
Yeah, like every other show Rob does is like, do not buy the books. Every time we do a coverage of like a live reveal, we mockingly talk about how many books are going to be published. I'm not surprised that I'm going to buy the book. I'm shocked at how book positive you are at the beginning of this release.
Because like, are they useful? No.
Yeah.
Like, are they because they'll go out of date, that they will be like, do they have a shelf life? Yes. There are so many negatives, but do I just goddamn want them for me? I work really hard. Like, is it a big thing for me to want? No. Like, it's fine. And so I'm excited about it, and they'll be on my shelf, and there'll be fun little things. So I might put them on my bookcase and just like have them at home in my bedroom, so just like read some stuff at night. I kind of want to do that with some of the AOS stuff as well. So that's where I'm at with that.
Odds are they'll stay on the bookshelf for me, and I'll read them in PDF. But like that's legit, right? So. It got to a place in 40K where I stopped buying them because of that, but I just want these. And also I have a complete 8th edition, so I got to keep the streak alive.
So just some breaking news to wrap the show up. Some breaking news is that there will be the world's first battle report out on Warhammer The Plus. The Plus. Don't forget that they did do two Horus Heresy battle reports at the launch of Horus Heresy, and then never made any since. So please just be conscious of that, because that's going to be something that, like, if you're like, I'm going to sign up for a whole year and get all of my hot news. There's even more breaking news. We'll go back to that. Even more breaking news.
Go ahead.
The Dwarven Mountain Hold dice set has been leaked.
What?
Oh boy!
They heard us talking.
Which must mean it's one of the upcoming books. Maybe book 3, maybe book 4. It's been leaked. The Dwarven Mountain Holds live leak. Whoa!
So, and I think was it Orcs? Was it Orcs that they were gonna?
Who's
Dwarves?
No, I think it's Orcs and I think it's I don't know. Dwarfs and Chaos. Who knows?
Do we have it? Quick, get a picture of the rule book. Let's look at the logo.
Because this is your side-by-side thing.
Yes, So who are dwarves paired with?
You think this is... if this ends up being true, there's no way they did the art and then the release schedule has followed this. Actually, now I'm thinking about it, it's the stupidest idea you've ever had, right? There's no way.
Look.
Okay,
it's
dwarfs...
for exactly what?
Dwarfs are paired against... dwarfs aren't even on there.
Yeah, they are. They're one of the shields on the bottom.
No, there's not.
Let's see.
Oh, wait, dwarves
are far left.
Orcs and goblins. Orcs and goblins.
Orcs and goblins.
No, it's not.
Orcs and goblins are next.
Nah.
Dwarfs and orcs and goblins. Actually, that would be that would be the Black Reach box. Like I could totally see them re-releasing that too.
All right, okay. Okay, so dwarfs confirmed. I mean, already confirmed, but double confirmed.
Double confirmed. Next. Count it.
Kind of offensive they're getting an arcane journal. They'd be pissed at that. They're like, we're not in an arcane. But then, so there's a Warhammer battle report. So then, Me Too for McCracken said, it's certainly been a trip down memory lane using ranked units once more in a game of Warhammer. But of course, taking off the rose-tinted glasses, running through Warhammer The Old World for the first time, we could see this wasn't just a game we remember from 10 years ago. It was much better, apparently. Simon... who I once did live streamed a battle report for Warhammer live stream while he was drunk from Bugman's, which is great. What we read is a combination of multiple versions of Warhammer Fantasy Battles that we remember with a few tweaks. Okay, anyway, sub-phases. What's it even? They're not trying to tell us anything. Take the initiative.
What are you reading right now?
It's a Warhammer community article where they're talking about the fact that I'm just trying to get to the end. It's some sort of interview with them, but they're having a Tomb King versus Brettonian battle on Warhammer Plus out soon. And then Alex is doing a Lore Masters review, and this is all going to be next week for Brettonian.
Okay, well, yeah. So, yeah, I guess it's after the embargo drops. There you go.
Oh, wait, cool. The bat rep is live now, apparently.
What?
No. That can't be true.
I might have to go have a peek, because I'm pretty sure I'm still subscribed.
The chances that they get any of the rules right,
probably zero.
So close to
unless it's something cool like JTY is like actually doing the bat rep or something like that, or like maybe someone from the studio is doing it. Like, can you imagine having to learn this game to record two standalone bat reps and then never think of it again? Good God.
Yeah, to be like, yeah, okay, we're going to play 2 games of this and never think about this again. It's a nightmare. Thank you, Rick Milos, for subscribing. Okay, I mean, we could do a live watch along. You can't, but I could potentially do a live watch along.
Do it.
Okay, all right. Well,
I encourage you to. If I wasn't freezing to death in the parking lot of Warhammer World, I and my back on fire. Again, when you're in a car, you want to sit facing forward, not sideways. Not what it's designed to sit. Not how it's designed to be sat in. Very uncomfortable.
Well, we're going to get on with this. My love to you, chat. Happy New Year to everyone as part of the Squarebase community, as well as every other community out there. Shout out to all of you. Don't forget, we'll bring you all the hot news and gossip where we can, when we can, and as much as we can with an aggressive release schedule as is. Any shout outs you want to make, Val, before we go?
Shout out to the last episode before embargo. So we'll have a lot more information. I think we'll probably try and get out as much content as we can. Again, I'm sort of the one holding us back right now because I'm recording off a laptop in a car. But as soon as we can, we're going to start cranking some stuff out. And as soon as we can get some details and information, we'll report it.
Yeah, it's going to be really good. I'm looking forward to it a lot.
Can't wait.
Loads of love to everyone. See you soon. Thanks for being Squarebase.